Good morning, everyone. And I'm Julie Aldrich, and I am going to be passing off the presentation to Amanda Wilson, a program specialist with our Improving Criminal Justice Responses Unit.
Thank you, Carolyn, and thank you, Julie, and welcome everyone to the pre-application information session for the Domestic Violence Mentor Court Technical Assistance Initiative solicitation that was posted on or about March 1st, 2023. It is strongly recommended that you read the full solicitation prior to listening to this information session. Application submissions are due by 9 p.m. Eastern Time on April 25th, 2023 in Just Grants. Applications will be submitted using a two-step process. First, submitting the SF 424 and SFLLL in grants.gov by April 20th, 2023 by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And then submitting the full application, including attachments in Just Grants by April 25th, 2023 by 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The OVW Domestic Violence Mentor Court Technical Assistance Initiative, further known as Mentor Court Initiative, creates a unique opportunity to recognize well-established, specialized courts and enable them to guide other courts and court-based programs that wish to significantly improve their responses to domestic violence cases and ensure victim safety and offender accountability. These well-established courts successfully serve as national models and share their expertise by hosting site visits, linking courts with peers facing similar challenges, and assisting other domestic violence courts to implement best practices to respond effectively to these difficult cases. In fiscal year 2023, funds under the Mentor Court Initiative must be used by recipients for all of the following purposes. First, to assist OVW and the OVW Mentor Court Initiative TA provider to select jurisdictions to receive mentorship, to develop and maintain a mentoring relationship with selected jurisdictions, planning domestic violence dockets or courts, plan and host 6 to 9 site visits for selected jurisdictions to assist them in planning a domestic violence docket or court, travel 2 to 3 times to selected jurisdictions to provide on-site TA on developing a domestic violence docket or court, share domestic violence related court forms, procedures, and protocols. And finally, and number 6, to send members of the recipient's mentor court team to 1 to 2 mentor court all sites meetings. Number 7, participate in the OVW Judicial Engagement Network Summit. Develop and participate in OVW-sponsored judicial forums and roundtable meetings. Respond to TA inquiries from courts other than mentee courts. Host mentor court open house events for jurisdictions interested in planning domestic violence courts other than the selected mentee courts. And collaborate with OVW TA providers. Please note that applicants must address all purpose areas. It should also be noted that activities are limited to providing training and technical assistance to other courts around the country. Applicants should not include programming for their own court in their applications. However, administrative costs may be included to support the mentor court goals and objectives. In fiscal year 2023, OVW is interested in addressing 2 priority areas. First, to advance racial equity as an essential component of ending sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking. To receive special consideration under this priority area, applicants must partner with a culturally specific organization defined as a community-based nonprofit, non-governmental, or tribal organization for which the primary purpose of the organization as a whole is to provide culturally specific services to American Indians, including Alaska Natives, Eskimos, and Inuits, Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and other Pacific Islanders, Blacks, or Hispanics. Applicants addressing this priority area are required to provide documentation such as a mission statement to prove the project partner is a culturally specific, community-based organization or tribal organization. The second priority area is to increase access to justice for all survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking, including through exploration of survivor-centered criminal justice system reform. To receive special consideration under this priority area, applicants must demonstrate how their court increases access to justice with the use of remote hearings, safe settlement processes for child-related relief, or other services or processes that promote access to justice. OVW does not fund activities that jeopardize victim safety, deter or prevent physical or emotional healing for victims, or allow offenders to escape responsibility for their actions. Applicants that propose any such activities may receive a deduction in points during the review process or may be eliminated from consideration entirely. Information on activities that compromise victim safety and recovery or undermine offender accountability may be found in the Solicitation Companion Guide. The following activities are considered to be out of scope and should not be included in your applications. Research projects. This does not include assessments conducted only for internal improvement purposes, up to 1% of the award. For information on distinguishing between research and assessments, see the funding restrictions section of this solicitation and the Solicitation Companion Guide. Direct services and justice system interventions. Mentor Court Initiative funds are intended to support educational opportunities and TA to OVW grantees and potential grantees. These funds are not meant to support court operations, law enforcement activities, legal representation, direct services, or other interventions. At this time, do we have any questions?
There are no questions in the chat.
Thanks, Amanda. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Maureen Monagle. I'm a grant specialist with the Justice for Families unit at OVW. So I'm going to cover the next couple of slides. So the award period for this grant is 24 months. Your budgets must reflect 24 months of project activity, and the total estimated funding on the SF 424 form must reflect 24 months. OVW anticipates that the award period will start on October 1st, 2023. Awards under the program for FY 2023 will be made for up to $150,000 for the entire 24 months. OVW estimates that it will make up to 8 awards for an estimated $1,200,000. These awards will be made as cooperative agreements. For FY 2023, OVW will accept applications for this program from the following types of applicants. New, which are considered applicants that have never received funding under this program or whose previous funding under this program expired on or before April 25th, 2022. Continuation applications, which are applicants that have an existing award under this program. Continuation applications are limited to St. Louis County in Missouri, St. Louis County Court, County of Kootenai in Idaho, which is the Kootenai County Court, the Judiciary Court of the State of Oklahoma, representing Tulsa County District Court, and the Judiciary Courts of the Commonwealth of Virginia, representing Pulaski County. Please remember, continuation funding is not guaranteed. It's also important to note that current mentor grantees with a substantial amount of unobligated funds remaining, which we consider 50% or more of the previous award, as of March 31st, 2023, without adequate justification, may not be considered for funding or may receive a reduced awarded amount if selected for FY 2023. Following entities are eligible to apply for this program: state, tribal, territorial, or local courts that are either current OVW Domestic Violence Mentor Court Initiative grantees, or courts with an existing specialized court system for handling domestic violence cases. Please note the application requirements. All applicants applications must include a project narrative, a budget detail worksheet and narrative, and letters of support. As stated in the solicitation, applications that do not include all of these documents will be considered substantially incomplete and will not be considered for funding. Please note that the budget must include OVW sponsored training and technical assistance in the amount of $20,000 for applications located in the 48 contiguous states. Applicants located in the territories of Hawaii, Alaska should set aside $25,000. This should include funds for the mentor court all sites meeting. Each court site will be required to send 4 to 6 team members of its team to a mentor court all sites meeting, the location and time of which is yet to be determined. It must also include funding to attend the Judicial Engagement Network Summit. Each mentor court site should include funds to send up to 3 judges to the OVW Judicial Engagement Network Summit, an association of judges that focuses on improving courts' response to domestic violence cases. And OVW training. Each mentor court site should include funds to send a team of 3 to 5 members of its court-based and court-related personnel to participate in at least one OVW technical assistance event. Additional budget requirements are to include additional travel funds for peer-to-peer site visits for a team of 3 to 5 members of its court-based and court-related personnel to participate in 6 to 9 site visits with the selected court. Also include funds to support a coordinator position responsible for coordinating project activities. Applicants must include as separate attachment the following letters of support, a letter of support from a domestic violence victim service provider describing its anticipated role and commitment to participate in project activities. A letter of support from the applicant's court administration describing its support of the applicant court to engage in this initiative. And for those addressing priority area 1, a letter from the culturally specific organization describing its support of the applicant court to engage in this initiative. I'm going to take a break to see if we have any questions.
We do have one question in the chat, and it was, can the coordinator position be provided in kind? I responded in the chat, and I can elaborate a little bit on that. The coordinator position can be a part-time position, but it must be in the budget. The model of the mentor course has changed since 2014 and 2016. So the coordinator position is more of a part-time position, but it is very important and crucial to the implementation of this new structure of the mentor courts. I also see a hand from Carrie, if you want to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I just had a question about the continuation funding. If we are an existing mentor court and we anticipate having some funds possibly left, less than 50%, what happens in that situation?
Nothing that would impact the ability to apply and the assessment of your application. And if that were to occur and you had remaining funds, you would work with your program specialist to either do a small extension or to close out that award. So
thank you.
No impact on applying.
Got it. Thanks.
And I think that's all the questions we have for right now.
Great. Thank you, Julie. Well, we'll keep moving forward. OVW's Grants Financial Management Division, known as GFMD, is involved in reviewing applications. GFMD reviews the following information required with all applications. They look at the summary data sheet, where we request information related to the applicant's single audit. Item number 6 on the summary data sheet, request a statement related to the IRS 3-step safe harbor procedure and disclosure process related to executive compensation. As well, applicants must upload the required documents as budget financial attachments in Just Grants. Sample disclosure letter is available. In the pre-award risk assessment, also submitted as an attachment, there are 11 questions, and there are multiple parts to each question. The most common issues or information not provided in the risk assessment include a brief list of policies and procedures not provided, budgeted versus actual process not provided, the applicant's record retention policy not included, as well as noting the individual primarily responsible for fiscal and administrative oversight, knowledge of rules and regulations. Please review all questions for both the summary data sheet and the pre-award risk assessment to ensure you're providing the requested information. We want to be sure and highlight some resources that are available that should be used as you're creating the budget to be submitted with the application. Over the last year, GFMD has worked to develop a detailed webinar presentation on how to assist applicants in developing a budget to be submitted with their OVW applications. They want to help reduce any challenges you may face with the budget and make it clear that what they look for when they review your budget. This webinar provides some insight as to what OVW financial staff considers during their review. The webinar can be found under the budget information section on the OVW resources for applicants page. Additionally, the Just Grants page has resources on completing the web-based budget and Just Grants. Next up is the uniform guidance, which can be found at 2 CFR 200. Then another resource is the DOJ financial guide, as well as the program-specific solicitation. We know this can be a lot of information to process, so if you have any questions about the GFMD information discussed, please feel free to contact the GFMD help desk. You can reach them by phone or by email, noted on the slide. Again, applications are due in Just Grants by April 25th, 2023 by 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It is strongly suggested you start the submission process at least 48 hours, but no later than 24 hours before April 25th, 2023. Applications submitted after 9 p.m. Eastern Time on April 25th, 2023 will not be considered for funding. Please review the solicitation carefully and contact OVW with any questions regarding the solicitation by either calling OVW at 202-307-6026 or email ovw.jff@usdoj.gov. If you are experiencing technical difficulties with sam.gov, grants.gov, or Just Grants, please contact the appropriate support desk. The systems do function separately and are independent of each other. If you are experiencing difficulties with sam.gov or grants.gov, please contact either as soon as you are aware of the problem and maintain documentation. Notify the program via email at ovw.jff@usdoj.gov and provide regular updates on the resolution of the problem. If the difficulty cannot be resolved by the grants.gov deadline, the applicant must notify the program via email before the grants.gov deadline. Once the grants.gov deadline passes, the applicant will have to email the application packet and documentation detailing the difficulties by 9 p.m. Eastern on April 25th, 2023. Please note that if you experience these difficulties, it is better to email the packet so that it arrives at OVW by 8 p.m. on April 25th. And then you may then we recommend you contact the different support desks to get assistance and move forward. But that packet must be received via email by 9 p.m. on the 25th. If you experience technical difficulties while applying in Just Grants, contact the OVW Just Grants help desk prior to the Just Grants deadline and work to resolve the technical difficulty. As I said, prior to the deadline, email ovw.jff@usdoj.gov to describe your technical difficulties with specific details, contact information for the applicant's UEI number, and any applicable tracking numbers from user support. In this email, please attach the complete application packet of the narrative, budget narrative, and letters of support. At this time, we will open to questions. Please feel free to type them in the chat or unmute yourself.
We have no current questions in the chat. And I just wanted to reiterate what Amanda said about if you're having technical difficulties and you're on the phone at 8 o'clock when this application is due into Just Grants, please email the application to ovw.jff@usdoj.gov while you're working through those issues, because it must be received by 9 p.m. on April 25th, 2023. Are there any other questions? Not seeing anything else in the chat. Feel free to reach out to us. If you're continuation, you can reach out to your program specialist. And if you are new, please feel free to reach out to ovw.jff@usdoj.gov with any additional questions. Seeing there are no additional questions, this concludes the pre-application webinar.